In the upper southeastern United States, Kentucky and Tennessee are two states with a lot of shared histories. But in the last 2 centuries, both developed contrarily, leading to differences. Let's compare Kentucky and Tennessee in the latest state comparison series episode. The upper southeastern United States has several landlocked states, including Arkansas, West Virginia, Kentucky, and Tennessee. Kentucky's history is deeply connected with its geography and natural resources. The region's fertile soil and abundant wildlife attracted early settlers, and the state's extensive network of rivers, including the Ohio River, facilitated trade and transportation. In the early 19th century, Kentucky became a major producer of hemp and tobacco, contributing to its economic growth. The state's location made it a key battleground during the Civil War, with notable conflicts such as the Battle of Perryville. Post-war, Kentucky's economy diversified, with coal mining becoming a significant industry in the Appalachian region. The late 19th century and early 20th centuries saw the rise of Kentucky's bourbon industry, with distilleries capitalizing on the state's unique limestone-filtered water. The state also became famous for the Kentucky Derby, first held in 1875, which remains one of the most prestigious horse racing events in the world. Throughout the 20th century, Kentucky continued to grow, balancing industrial development with the preservation of its cultural backgrounds. Today, Kentucky is celebrated for its contributions to American music, particularly bluegrass, and its distinctive culinary heritage, exemplified by dishes such as the hot brown and Kentucky burgoo. Tennessee also has a history rich in cultural and historical significance. Indigenous peoples, including the Cherokee and Chickasaw, originally inhabited the region. European exploration began in the late 17th century, with early settlements established by the French and later the British. Tennessee was part of North Carolina until it became the 16th state to join the Union in 1796. The state's central location made it a vital player in the early American expansion and trade. Tennessee played a crucial role during the Civil War, with strategic battles such as the Battle of Shiloh and the Siege of Chattanooga taking place on its soil. The state's loyalty was divided, with East Tennessee showing strong Unionist opinions, while the rest of the state largely supported the Confederacy. Post-Civil War, Tennessee transitioned into a period of Reconstruction and industrialization. The state's economy diversified with the growth of agriculture, mining, and manufacturing. Nashville, the state capital, emerged as a center for country music in the early 20th century, earning the nickname Music City. Today, Tennessee is known for its rich musical heritage, vibrant cultural scene, and dynamic economy. In today's State Comparison Series episode, we are going to compare Kentucky and Tennessee. The video will focus on both the physical and human geographies. In terms of physical geography, we will review 3 main factors: the geomorphology, meteorology, and ecology, while with human geography, we will review 4 main factors: the demography, urbanization, economy, and geopolitics. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to my channel, Our World, Our Planet, Our Home, if you enjoy learning about geography and earth science. Let's get started. Geomorphologically, both Kentucky and Tennessee are landlocked inland states with no coastlines. Kentucky is partially located in the Appalachian Mountains, with the eastern third of the state being in the mountain range. Kentucky's highest peak is located there, Black Mountain, at an elevation of 4,145 feet. Other than the Appalachians, Kentucky is not too low in elevation since it is landlocked, with cities such as Lexington around 1,000 feet high. But near the Ohio River, the state does see a decrease in elevation, with Louisville averaging around 460 feet. The lowest elevation in the state is the Mississippi River at the Kentucky Bend, which is 257 feet. Also, the New Madrid seismic zone is within the area, which does make southwestern Kentucky at risk for a possible intraplate earthquake. Tennessee does have some similarities to Kentucky in terms of geomorphology. The eastern part of the state is also within the Appalachians, with Clingman's Dome, the highest peak, being situated there at an elevation of 6,643 feet, making it the third highest peak in the Appalachians after Mount Mitchell and Mount Craig in North Carolina. Much of eastern Tennessee is above 1,000 feet in elevation, but westward, elevations start to decrease. Nashville is around 500 feet in elevation, but Memphis, in the western part of the state, averages just 260 feet, and the lowest elevation is found nearby on the banks of the Mississippi River at 178 feet. Tennessee is even more prone than Kentucky to being affected by an earthquake from the New Madrid seismic zone, as Memphis is classified by the USGS as a very high-risk area. Climatically, latitude and being inland contribute to Kentucky and Tennessee's meteorology. Kentucky is located between 36 to 39 degrees north latitude, and this plays a role in what type of climatic conditions the state sees. In the northern part, Louisville experiences a humid subtropical climate with cool winters with some snow and hot and humid summers. But Lexington, being 1,000 feet high, sees slightly cooler conditions with lower winter temperatures and a little more snow. Both cities are susceptible to continental variations and can get quite hot in the summer and cold in the winter, with Louisville and Lexington having lower all-time record low temperatures than New York City. Southward, Bowling Green has a humid subtropical climate with warmer winters and less snow and hot and humid summers. Statewide, Kentucky is vulnerable to severe weather outbreaks, which can bring flooding rains and tornadoes. Tennessee is further south than Kentucky and thus has a milder climate. In the highest elevations, temperatures are cooler, and these areas experience quite a bit of snow in the winter, but nowhere as much as places in the northern tier of the country. In the more urbanized areas of Tennessee, cities such as Nashville, Chattanooga, Knoxville, and Memphis have a humid subtropical climate with hot and humid summers and cool to mild winters with limited amounts of snow. Like Kentucky, Tennessee can get severe weather, especially during the warmer months. In terms of ecology, Kentucky and Tennessee are so much alike that they can be explained together. Both states are considered temperate biomes, which have mixed broadleaf deciduous and coniferous forest, along with seasonal variations. The dense forest, wetlands, and fertile agricultural lands support a wide range of species such as white-tailed deer, black bears, raccoons, eastern cottontail rabbits, and numerous bird species. Notable conservation areas include the Great Smoky Mountains, Mammoth Cave National Park, Railfoot Lake, and Land Between the Lakes National Recreation Area. Also, Lexington is known for its rich green spaces and commitment to preserving natural areas within the city. On the human geography, and starting with demography, Kentucky and Tennessee share quite a few similarities, but there are significant differences. Kentucky has a current population of a little over 4.5 million residents, ranking the state 26th in population, mid-pack nationwide. Over the last half century, Kentucky's population has grown and is still growing, although not as quickly as other southeastern states, particularly those more within the Sun Belt. Racially, Kentucky is a majority white state with 81.3% of the population, while blacks make up the largest minority group at 7.4%, followed by Hispanics at 4.6%. Before the end of the Civil War, blacks made up 25% of Kentucky's population, but many headed northward during the Great Migration. Ethnically, Kentucky is made up of primarily European ancestries, including English, Irish, and German. Southward to Tennessee, the current population of the state is just over 7.1 million residents, placing it 15th nationwide in population. Being that the state is somewhat further south, its favorable climate, especially during the winter, along with its fairly low cost of living, have made Tennessee one of America's fastest growing states. Racially, Tennessee is more diverse than Kentucky. While whites make up the majority of the population at nearly 71%, the black population is more than double Kentucky's at 15.7%. And Hispanics make up 6.9% of the population. Ethnically, Tennessee is very similar to Kentucky, with English, Irish, and Germans making up the highest percentages. However, some identify as just American. But this is due to the fact that many Europeans living there have been in Tennessee for hundreds of years. Urbanization patterns within Kentucky and Tennessee have coincided with the demographic growth in both. Kentucky's largest city is Louisville, with a city population of just over 624,000 residents, and a metropolitan area population of nearly 1.4 million, which extends into neighboring Indiana. Louisville's population has gone through variations, but the largest was between 2000 and 2010, when the city saw a 133% increase in population due to a city-county merger that occurred in 2003. Lexington is second in population, followed by Bowling Green, then Owensboro, and Covington. The state capital, Frankfort, is 14th in population with nearly 29,000 residents and is the fourth least populated state capital in the nation. In terms of transportation, Kentucky has a thorough network of interstate, U.S., and state highways as well as local roads. Some interstates that traverse the state include I-64, I-65, I-71, and I-75, which runs from the U.S.-Canadian border to Miami, Florida. Being larger, Tennessee has larger cities. The largest city and state capital is Nashville, with a city population of over 689,000 and a metropolitan area population of around 2.1 million. In the western part of the state, Memphis is the second largest city with 618,000 and has shrunk in recent decades. It was first up until 2017 when rapidly growing Nashville passed it. Knoxville is third, followed by Chattanooga and Clarksville. Similarly to Kentucky, Tennessee has a well-developed network of highways, including interstates, U.S. highways, and state highways, as well as rural country roads. Some notable interstates that traverse the state include I-65, I-24, I-75, and I-40, a cross-country east-west highway running from Wilmington, North Carolina to Barstow, California. In addition, Memphis International Airport is ranked as the busiest cargo airport in the Western Hemisphere. Economically, the southeastern United States has historically been more impoverished than the northern states, especially since the end of the Civil War, and this includes Kentucky and Tennessee. But in recent decades, both states have made significant strides in creating better economies. Kentucky has a state GDP of $225 billion and a per capita income of about $54,000 a year, which is among the lowest of all states. Today, the economy of Kentucky is diverse, with key industries including agriculture, manufacturing, and energy production. The state is one of the leading producers of tobacco, corn, and soybeans, and also has a significant livestock industry. Manufacturing plays a vital role, especially in the automotive sector, with major plants like Toyota and Ford contributing to employment and economic output. Kentucky is also rich in natural resources, particularly coal, which has historically been a cornerstone of the state's economy, though it has declined in recent years. Additionally, Kentucky's bourbon industry is world-renowned, adding to the state's economic and cultural identity. Companies headquartered in Kentucky include Yum! Brands, one of the world's largest fast food restaurant companies, owning popular brands like KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut. Humana Incorporated, a leading health insurance company providing various health, wellness, and insurance products. Brown-Forman Corporation, a major American-owned spirits and wine company known for brands like Jack Daniel's, Woodford Reserve, and Old Forester. And Lexmark International, a global provider of printing and imaging products and services specializing in business solutions and enterprise software. Tennessee has a state GDP of $425 billion and a per capita income of around $60,000 a year, somewhat higher than Kentucky. Tennessee's economy is robust and diverse, with significant contributions from manufacturing, agriculture, healthcare, and tourism. The state is a major hub for automotive manufacturing, with companies like Nissan, General Motors, and Volkswagen operating large plants. Agriculture also plays a role, with Tennessee being a top producer of soybeans, corn, and cotton. The healthcare sector, particularly in Nashville, is a major economic driver, home to numerous hospitals, research institutions, and healthcare companies. Tourism thrives with attractions like the Great Smoky Mountains, Graceland, and Nashville's vibrant music scene, drawing millions of visitors each year. Additionally, Tennessee's favorable business climate and strategic location have attracted many corporate headquarters and distribution centers, further bolstering its economy. Companies headquartered in Tennessee include FedEx, one of the world's largest courier delivery services companies, providing transportation, e-commerce, and business services globally, HCA Healthcare, a leading healthcare services provider operating hospitals and healthcare facilities across the United States and the United Kingdom, Dollar General, a well-known discount retailer with thousands of stores across the United States, offering a wide range of everyday products at low prices, and AutoZone, a leading retailer and distributor of automotive replacement parts and accessories in the United States. On to geopolitics, Kentucky and Tennessee both have intricate and complicated political histories due to their location between the northern and southern states. Kentucky was admitted into the Union in 1792 as a 15th state, and the first presidential election the state voted in was in 1792, where it gave its electoral votes to George Washington, the only candidate. Then from the 1796 to 1824 presidential elections, Kentucky gave its electoral votes to exclusively Democratic Republican candidates. This was broken in 1828 when the state gave its electoral votes to winning Democrat Andrew Jackson. However, during the mid-1800s until 1856, the state became a Whig Party stronghold until this was broken when the state gave its electoral votes to Democrat James Buchanan in 1856. In the 1860 election, Kentucky gave its electoral votes to John Bell, a member of the Constitutional Union Party. Bell had a complex view on slavery, as he owned slaves, but was against the expansion of slavery into the territories of the western United States. After the Civil War, Kentucky became somewhat of a Democrat stronghold, with the state's electoral votes going to Democrat candidates more so than Republican ones. By the middle of the 1900s, this slowly started to change as Kentucky started to vote for more Republican presidential candidates, including Dwight Eisenhower in 1956 and Richard Nixon in 1968. But some Democrats still won the state well into the late 1900s, including Jimmy Carter in 1976 and Bill Clinton in 1992 and 1996. Since then, however, Kentucky has given its electoral votes to Republican candidates and is seen as a safe red state. For this year's presidential election, projections do show that Republican candidate Donald Trump is leading over Democrat Kamala Harris. In the U.S. Senate, Kentucky has 2 Republican senators, Mitch McConnell and Rand Paul, and in the House of Representatives, 5 Republicans and 1 Democrat. On the state level, Kentucky does have a Democrat governor, Andy Beshear, who was elected in 2019 and re-elected in 2023. Tennessee was admitted into the Union in 1796 as the 16th state, and its first presidential election was that year when the state gave its electoral votes to Democratic-Republican candidate Thomas Jefferson. Similarly to Kentucky, Tennessee voted exclusively for Democratic-Republican candidates until 1828 and then voted for Democrats during the 1830s, followed by Whig candidates until 1856. In 1860, Tennessee did give their electoral votes to John Bell. During the Civil War, Tennessee was part of the Confederacy but did participate in the 1864 election due to the fact that the state was under Union control. The state's electoral votes did go to Republican Abraham Lincoln. After the Civil War, Tennessee did give their electoral votes to Republican Ulysses S. Grant in 1868, but Democrats won the state all the way until the 1920 election when Republican Warren Harding won the state. Through the middle part of the 1900s, Tennessee did vote back and forth between Democrat and Republican presidential candidates and did vote for Democrat Bill Clinton in 1992 and 1996. But like Kentucky, Tennessee started to turn more Republican, and today it is seen as a safe red state in presidential elections. For this year's election, Trump is polling to win the state over Harris. In the U.S. Senate, Tennessee has 2 Republican senators, Marsha Blackburn and Bill Hagerty, and in the House of Representatives, 8 Republicans and 1 Democrat. On the state level, Tennessee has a Republican governor, Bill Lee, who was elected in 2018 and re-elected in 2022. Kentucky and Tennessee are in a distinctive part of the United States between the northern and southern states, and this makes them both culturally and historically unique. Throughout the 21st century, each state will continue to evolve and likely grow in population due to their fairly favorable climates and lower cost of living. That concludes this week's episode. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you'd like to leave your feedback, please do so in the comment section below. Also, be sure to subscribe to my channel, Our World, Our Planet, Our Home. Until next time!